Hello, friends. This is Jim Nantz, and I encourage you to listen to Golf Smarter with my friend Fred Greene.
This is Golf Smarter.
Welcome to the Golf Smarter podcast, Jim.
Hello, Fred, or hello, friends, however you want to put it up. Both are true, and I'm happy to be here on this special occasion with you, Fred.
Oh, thank you so much. I was wondering when I told you, say, hello, Fred, I wonder how that was going to come out. Thank you. That was awesome. Where did hello, friends come from? I mean, every broadcaster looks for a signature line and things, and you really have nailed it. Where did it come from?
Well, I truly never wanted to have a signature line, so that was not where I was trying to go. I've told this story many times, but my dad suffered from Alzheimer's, and it was a 13-year battle, unwinnable. Hopefully, we're on the way to changing that for that dark world. But about halfway through his battle, as he was able to just cling to faint memories, I would play all kinds of word games with him to try to keep the engines going. Somewhere along the line, I said to him, Dad, when I come on the air this weekend, I'm going to say, hello, friends. And that is a message to you to let you know I'm thinking of you at that very time when I come on camera. Kind of like an old Carol Burnett tug of the ear type.
Absolutely.
And it was as simple as that. I left his bedside in Houston. Probably 5 minutes later, he'd already forgotten about it. Who knows? I'd like to think there was some sort of synapse that held on to it. But I made my way to Hazeltine and the PGA Championship of '02, won by Rich Beam. And it was on the Saturday show. I said for the first time on the air, hello, friends, Jim Nantz. And do you know that I as I looked into the camera, which gives you no feedback, you're just looking into a dark hole, a lens, I thought of him for that flicker of a second. It relaxed me. And after the show, a great friend of mine who had worked with me on my book about my father called Always by My Side, Eli Spielman. I got a call from Eli, and he said, I heard you say hello, friends, at the top of the broadcast. What was that all about? I told him the backstory. He said, that sounds like you. You ought to do that every show. Not, again, trying to create anything that would draw attention to me or a signature line, but I have ever since. And do you know, even to this day, all these hundreds, thousands of shows later, when I say it, it's comforting to me. My dad's been gone since '08, Fred.
I'm sorry.
So I still, though, for that flicker of a second, when I look into the camera and say, hello, friends, I think of my dad, and it's a warm feeling that overtakes me and gets me into the flow of the show.
It's like it's your first tee, getting rid of the first tee jitters, right?
Yes, exactly. It's exactly that same kind of thing. And it doesn't matter how many times you've called the Super Bowl or the Masters, whatever it might be. There's all that excitement for a live show that you've prepared for. And you kind of just want to settle into the round, settle into the broadcast. And Hello Friends has been that gift to me. It settles me down, and I'm on my way into the show. Hopefully a good show after that.
That is amazing, and I completely get it. It's kind of like what this green screen is behind me. You asked why the green screen? There's no distractions for me. And I can look into the black hole. I can look into the camera, which I have on my screen positioned right below your eyes. So I can look into the camera, but it looks like I'm looking at you, but I am actually looking at your eyes. So yeah, that's the comforting dark hole that broadcasters, I'm sure, take a while to figure out how to use the camera effectively, because it's so hard, especially now with people on Zoom and stuff. They're always looking off to the side. Anyway, our connection was a strange one on how I got to you, and it's John Madden.
Whoa. What a nice thing to hear. Go on.
A friend of mine recently wrote a book called Mornings with Madden. I don't know if you know that John was on Bay Area radio every morning for 30 years.
KNBR for a long time.
And before that, KSFO with Gene Nelson.
Okay.
And before that, he was on the RKO radio network Charlie Steiner was head of RKO Radio Sports at the time, Charlie being, the Dodgers, recently ESPN. And I was John Madden's recording engineer. And he and I would talk he would record a couple times a week, 15 minutes, these 5-minute segments. And then we'd talk for 2 hours. And we did this for years. And he was the single greatest mentor I've ever had in my life. And I found out when I had my list of wanting to get you on the show, I found out that you and John share an agent,
We
Sandy Montag.
the great Sandy Montag,
That's
and
right.
you're a blessed man to have had all those experiences with Coach. I had a few of those, not anywhere close to the number that you did, but he loved a good hang. So what you just described is exactly what made John really happy. Not to be in a hurry to go anywhere and to sit around and tell stories. That was kind of John's way of living.
Yeah. Yeah. Special man.
Special man. And I did regret deeply when he passed. Sometimes you think, could I have handled that friendship, that relationship a little bit better? I wish I had more of it. I wish there was
Exactly
more time. Why didn't I make this kind of effort? And here I had a home in Pebble Beach, California. I lived there full time for 11 years, and I still live there part time, never selling my home. But John was right off of Ocean Avenue in Carmel. And the reality is, Fred, I was so in awe of him that I felt a little intimidated. And John's the last guy in the world to want anyone to feel like he had intimidated you. But he was just so big in my eyes that I had a few chances to hang out with him. And his guys of Carmel, Dominic, Furman, I still see these guys from Bruno's Market there in Carmel. Wonderful guy. Just had a great visit with him a few weeks ago. And John was just such a regular person. But he had this way of describing things that was next level. He was a people person, an extraordinary guy. So I'm glad you found through Sandy this opportunity for us to be together.
So after KNBR, he went to KCBS.
Right.
And he was with the morning guy for the last 20 years of John doing this was Stan Bunger, who wrote this book, Mornings with Madden. You should check it out. It's just stories about John. It's not a bio at all.
Mm-hmm.
And Stan, when I was in college radio in San Francisco, and I graduated a couple years ahead of you from, radio and TV, I was the morning DJ and Stan was my morning news guy. And so we've been friends ever since.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. When were you introduced to golf?
I was introduced to golf probably around the age of 4. Family lived in Charlotte, North Carolina, and they became founding members of a golf club that was extremely modest. Okay. I'll tell you how modest it was. It was so modest that there was a routing for a 9-hole golf course. It's now 18. It's called Pine Lake outside of Charlotte. And the founding members helped build the golf course. They helped clear it. So there was this routing. I can still see the first hole. And people lined up single file across the width of the tree lines right and left. And you pushed a wheelbarrow with you and dumped sticks and stones in the wheelbarrow. You help clear it so they could then come in with the topsoil and then seed it. So I was just a tag along little boy, little runt, following his mom and dad. And later, of course, the course came to life. And that was my introduction to golf. It's just really tagging along with my parents, clearing a golf course and later playing it. And I loved it. My dad played, not all the time because he was a Monday through Friday working man, but on weekends I used to tag along with him. And I took up a love for the game that's never left me. And it's been a joy to be able to kind of go through the same process of passing out along to my son. I have 3 children. My youngest is a boy, and he's into golf big time. And I'm living the game vicariously through him, and at the same time, stirring a lot of memories of how I got introduced to the game.
So, do you remember every shot you've ever taken on a golf course?
No, but there's so many shots, Fred. Fortunately, I'm not putting up good scores, but I've pretty
No, yeah,
some of the better moments in my golfing career. I can remember a lot of things. My memory is really sharp on names and numbers.
great.
It helps me well. It serves me well for the broadcasting. But um, I'm so into watching my son play. He plays competitively as a junior golfer,
Oh, wow. Okay.
and I just love watching. He's going to be such a good player in time. He's going to be outstanding. So it's such a joy to be able to have that with him. I have a little golf hole in my backyard in Pebble Beach, and my home here in Nashville. It's been a 2-year work in progress. I have another little teeing area and a green, and it sounds extravagant. It's not, but I guess you could say it is. But I mean, I worked on it by hand,
Wow.
shape it the way I wanted it to. I didn't lay down the synthetic turf. I had great people do that. Um, but my son's just, it's only amplified his love and interest in the game. And he's in the backyard practicing all the time. Just total joy. Just that joy of having a club in your hand and hitting shots and trying all kinds of different ways to get the ball close.
So, are you just watching, or are you coaching him? You
Definitely coaching. I've been coaching him since he was 3. He's 9, believe it or not. So I have a son
okay?
late in life.
Yeah.
And I would take the desktop that I'm on right now, and I would put up videos of Rory as a
Mm.
young boy at each different age group from 3 on. There are videos out there. You can find them. And I had when Jameson, we call him JMO, but when JMO was 3, and I started out with the video of Rory hitting golf balls into a washing machine. You've seen that clip.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Saw it
He
last
would
week
run up
again.
to the tee, then he'd run out the house, go up to the back, to the top of the tee. And kids are great simulators. They can really, they're copycatters at that age, and they can easily get their body in the positions they need to. And I really believe that was a good way to teach him. And he'd go up and he would simulate at the same age what Rory was doing. Alas, he's 9 now, and his swing, now granted, he's 9, but it looks very similar to Rory's.
Huh.
And I've told that to Rory a number of times. And it's a great teaching mechanism. We played yesterday, and it's just I've worked with him so much. I can tell when he's fractionally off, whether it's his takeaway or it's weight shift, whatever it might be, coming out of a shot, and he listens and he grasps it quickly.
Wow.
And yeah, I think he's going to be able to play the game. Hopefully at a collegiate level, maybe beyond when that day comes. But it sure is fun sharing it with him. I know
Oh,
that.
I bet. Oh, I bet. And so, as a golfer, you as a golfer, what is the best advice you've ever received?
Hmm. I mean, as far as teaching or enjoyment of the game, teaching of the game, I was taught. We're basically the same age, Fred.
You're a little younger than me.
I grew up in an age where it was all about staying in control and tempo and having that elegant swing and didn't grip it and rip it.
Mhm.
And now as you get older, you wish you were taught just to swing as hard as you could and pound it. Um, I've always had a good demeanor on the golf course. I'm not a club thrower. You don't hear me curse the sky. I try my best to just enjoy the fact that I'm out there playing some of the most beautiful places in the world,
Oh, I bet.
at some of the most beautiful places in the world, and not get caught up in score. It took me a long time to get
Wow.
over meeting other people's expectations. The word is out that I played collegiately at Houston, which is a bit of a stretch, to be honest. I was the last guy on the golf team, and I never
Oh,
really competed in a varsity tournament, competed in
okay.
one freshman tournament. And I was surrounded by very talented players. So people think that I can go out and shoot 72, 75 every time I play, and it's not even close. So it took me a long time to meet other people's expectations, I was quarreling with that.
Oh,
Now,
wow.
when you get to be 65, you start to realize, the expectations are lower. I'm older now. It's plausible that I lost my game somewhere along the way. I've been working, so I have not had to feel as much tension playing and trying to live up to that University of Houston past.
As we get older, my wife and I joke about all the time. There's a graph of the x-axis is your age going up, and the y-axis is give a shit. And so the older you get,
Probably
that
a lot
graph
of
is
that.
going
Yeah,
down.
I think that you described it better than I can. That was really, I think that speaks to me right there, Freddie. I really do.
And how's JMO's mental game?
He's good. He's Mr. Positive. I mean, he can just, I mean, I love the fact that he fights hard for every shot, and he is, I mean, for 9 years old, he hits the ball a long way. I held him back playing in tournament golf. I was told this by Butch Harmon,
Hmm.
actually.
Wow.
And Butch was out visiting. We went up to the back of the range at Pebble, and he saw JMO hit the ball when he was 4 or 5 years old. JMO made a hole in one at the Hay at Pebble Beach around that time. He's still the youngest ever to ever make one, a legit shot. And
Were you there?
oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah, there were witnesses.
oh my God.
John
That's
just,
a proud papa moment.
yeah, it was all good. But I, Butch said, don't get him too competitive too early. Don't there's can be he thinks there's a burnout factor. Says wait till he's 8 or 9. Well, I've waited till he was late 8 in the fall of 24, and I entered him in his first tournament, individual tournament. It's out here in Tennessee. It's called the Snedeker Tour. Brant's name is on it. Brant Snedeker is just a great guy,
Nice.
Tennessean, and JMO was playing an 8, 9, 10 age group. And it was just a little after school 9-hole tournament, like 25 kids. But they played it, a par 36 golf course, like from the ladies' tees, 8, 9, 10. And first time out, he won. He won by 4 shots. He shot 4 over. It's the first time he went out to have to play competitively. Everything has to be holed. You can't touch the ball. Play it as it lies. And I just thought, wow, that was a great way to start. He hasn't won every tournament. He's won several tournaments, but he's playing up. He's playing against older boys. And the kids are all so great. And they root for each other. And he gets back to the summer. We spent our summers there in Pebble Beach. And he's got a pack of kids who are all excellent Division I prospects that are 14, 15, 16, who play in the Northern Cal, the NCGA,
NCNGA.
play AJGA, that great American tour. And they love JMO tagging along, and it's really improved his game playing with older boys and girls who are outstanding players. So I'm loving it, man. I've never loved the game more than I do right now today. I really say that
Because of your son.
because of my son.
That's awesome.
He's stoked a fire inside of me to enjoy the game even more. I
Oh,
love where the professional game is right now, and it's been just blessed. It really
well,
has. Current
it's amazing that he won his first tournament, and it's probably really good that he doesn't win every one. He's got to learn that about
got
golf.
to. I mean, you have to go through what it takes to win, and a lot of that is you also have to learn how to handle defeat, and
Life lesson.
yeah, that's a life lesson. I'll give you his first swing in. This was a father-son tournament, so that didn't count as an individual tournament. He was 6 years old. I trust this can come out. Oh shoot,
There you go. Because of the blur. Oh, look at that. Look
that
at
was
that.
6. Yeah, that was his
Wow.
first shot. That playing with me, and he can play.
Oh, thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
For those listening to the podcast, sorry,
yeah.
Jim's
Sorry,
showing
guys.
us
You
phone
can vouch that
images on his
he
phone.
can golf swing, but
Check out YouTube. We'll put
yeah,
this
I
on
want
YouTube.
him to enjoy it. I'm not trying to put crazy expectations on his shoulder. He's way too young.
Okay, you brought it up. You mentioned Rory. and I want to bring it to this year's Masters,
Oof.
which I have to say it's the first one I ever got to go to. I was there.
Oh,
I
Fred.
was there Wednesday and Thursday as a guest of Charlie Yates Jr.
Nice.
Yeah. Do-
Royalty at the
at-
Augusta National Golf Club.
oh
Yeah.
my gosh, absolutely amazing! And had lunch with him in the Founders Dining Hall on Thursday, and it was the trophy room, amazing, amazing. But as far no, God, there's so many things I want to talk about that you're working. I mean, I've been around broadcasting. I've been around sports broadcasting. You're working when you're at the Masters. Do you ever get to? What blew me away is meeting under the tree, right inside by the umbrellas. That the industry, that's their meeting place. That's the golf industry meeting place. Unlike the PGA show, which is a retail thing, this is golf. Do you ever get to enjoy that, or are you working the whole time? You're there every year, but
I enjoy every minute of it. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of people to catch up to. When you start on, let's say Wednesday, I have some rituals there that I've. This was my 40th Masters, so there are certain things that I do every year. In that case, on Wednesdays, I always, once the par three tournament commences, I go down to Amen Corner and have my own little kind of moment, seance, ritual, prayerful introspection, whatever you want to call it. Walk over Hogan Bridge, walk around the 12th green, give thanks for having the opportunity to be back again.
nice.
Go up to the 13th tee, just kind of take it all in, breathe it in, look at it, walk across the Nelson Bridge, and go back to work. Now, whatever you call it, work. I mean, it's joy for me. But Thursday morning under the big tree, when they come out with the honorary starters, that's an amazing time. Amazing, amazing time.
Hmm.
That's one of my favorite moments of the year. If you call it a sporting event, that might be my favorite sporting event is the Masters. But specifically, even seeing Jack, Gary, and Tom Watson, as the case was this year, hit that first shot. It's just like watching your life go by. It's a checkpoint. But I'd watch that from under the big tree. And you'd run into people in the industry, the golf industry. You run into leaders in the golf space. They're all there. And it's a lot of meet and greet of old friendships being renewed. It's a season of renewal, as you know.
Absolutely.
And then the next thing you know, you've got commitments. You've got inserts into CBS this morning. You've got the cable show on Thursday and Friday. You've got opening pieces to write and to voice. You have now this year, with the addition of 5 extra hours on the weekend, including on streaming, we were on from 12 till 7 Eastern time, both days. It felt like an hour. Each day was 7 hours. Sunday was a little longer than 7 hours. It's a blur. I'm into the Masters tournament so much. Every shot, I can't see every shot, but I have a pretty good idea of what's happening out there for virtually every player in the field. I have a scoring tablet in front of me, and I'm constantly hitting refresh, and I'm seeing. If you said to me, "Hey, where is name a player? Where is Rory on the golf course right now?" I could tell you he's through 8 holes. He's birdied both the par fives, and he bogeyed the fifth. I just have it in my head, but that goes beyond the stars of the game. You can say, "How Jose Maria is still playing in the tournament? How's he doing?" Hey, surprisingly, he's doing great. He's got a chance to make the cut. He birdied 9 to get back to 3 over par. He's down at Amen Corner right now. I catalog it. I'm following it constantly from Thursday when the first shot is struck until Sunday night when the last putt is holed. I'm like a computer in my own head following where everyone is on the course. And I love it.
And you've got a producer in your ear probably the entire time as well, don't you?
That producer has more things to do than just have a running dialogue with me. He's got a lot of things.
There's a lot of cameras going at once.
Yeah, I mean, that's the director's cutting the cameras, but the producer's really concerned with the general flow of the show and where to go to next. And you get cues.
Right.
Let's go to 15. Let's go to 16. He's telling you where to go. But And we have a great producer in Seller Shy and an extraordinary director too, and Steve Milton. They make movies. The Masters Tournament is not like covering a sporting event anymore.
Right.
Sporting event would be covering a football or a basketball game, like a lot of people do.
No,
But when it comes to like the Masters Tournament with the drone shots and all the different camera angles, the
it's
beauty of
cinematic.
that, it is totally cinematic. That's the word. The little Augusta melody, the little undercurrent that's playing there. It's not a sporting event. It's a movie. It is cinematic.
And how detailed are the cues that you're getting? Rory on 15? Or is there more,
Usually
somebody birdie?
it's just a whole change.
Okay.
12. Let's
Okay.
go to 12.
Yeah.
Let's go to 15. I mean, he's got so many balls in the air. He's juggling.
Yeah.
Go next. He's usually working 5 or 6 shots ahead, trying to time it out. He's not providing running commentary. He's watching while one player's on the air. Rory's at 15. He's looking at Xander at 17. At the same time, he's seeing Bryson about to hit his second shot at 18. He's trying to time all this to cut from here to there and tell the director we're going to go to 17 next, and after that, 18's coming up. So those are things I don't hear. It would be a distraction. All I hear is let's go to 17. Or not even let's go. It's just 17, 18, 12. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And you write your own copy?
I don't write any. I mean, you're talking about the opening to the Masters tournament?
Well, no, that's probably a team
Yeah.
who writes
That's
that.
the only part that really is scripted would be those big montages and orchestrations
Yeah.
that open the Masters tournament. And this year it was done well in advance of the Masters tournament. It was done a month in advance. Take a lot of pride in laying a voice down to that. But the rest of what you're doing on the air is just you see it. You're an observer, and you tell people what you see, and it's extemporaneous speaking. You don't script anything.
Do you realize how good your voice is for audio? I mean, when did it break? I mean, when you were a kid and your voice started breaking and stuff, and now you're playing golf in college, and like you're probably doing play-by-play of guys hitting balls when you're playing in school. When did you know it's like? Because I knew early on in my broadcasting career, I did not have a good voice for radio.
What are you talking about, Fred?
I have the intonation, but I don't know if I have the voice. But your voice it's just silk, and it lends so well to the cinema of the Masters.
Thank you for that. Well, first off, all I ever knew about my voice is my voice sounded like my dad's voice, which I was very honored. When
Yeah.
people would call the house back in the days when you had landline phones at home, and you didn't know even what a cell phone would be, and you'd answer the phone, people would say, Jim, and I was named after my father. It was Jim.
Okay.
I was actually Jimmy growing up because my dad was Jim. So, yes, hi, how are you? And there's this big Jim, little Jim. We sounded exactly alike to people, and I was honored to carry my father's voice. I never
Sure.
thought it was any big deal. I just thought it was special because I knew that I sounded like my father. So it was not any classical training. It was just the fact that the good Lord ran that voice through my dad onto me. And I still don't even think it's anything special. It's just the voice that I've been given. And listen, I have 40 years of experience of knowing how to pitch my voice on a broadcast when something happens that's big, or even the other side of it, how to drop a voice. But I don't think it's any big deal. But I think you're saying that.
Well, fine. You think that. It's funny. Your voice sounding like your dad. Remember in early days of cell phones when you'd talk and you'd hear the voice repeated, right? Well,
Yeah.
my older son, everyone could, when he was growing up, people still think that we have the same voice. It was like, wow, you sound a lot like your dad. So one time he was calling and his phone rang. He picked it up and he goes, hello? And it goes, hello? He goes, who is this? Who is this? Come on, Dad. Come on, Dad. He realized that he thought he was talking to me and that I was messing with him, but it was just his own voice repeating itself.
Back at him.
And he
Yeah.
thought it was me.
Well, my dad was a big believer, so was my mom. And my crazy little childhood dream that I had as a young boy, I wanted to work for CBS since
Oh,
I
man.
was, well, let's call it at the absolute latest, let's call it 11 years old. But CBS broadcast the Masters, and those voices of yesteryear, the voices of my youth, it wasn't that they were on television. It was that they were telling me stories and they were educating me, and I was mesmerized by those voices. And I wanted to be one of those voices because it impacted me, it moved me, they informed me, educated me, they brought the world to me. And I had this crazy idea that I wanted to work specifically for CBS. And I also love, by the way that CBS broadcast the NFL. They
Mm.
didn't have college basketball back in those days, which would be a big part of my career. I'm grateful for having called 32 Final Fours and national championships, but they had the NFL, they had golf, and I just thought, I want to work for CBS. I want to work for CBS. I went to college saying, I got to figure out a way to get to CBS. I got to figure it out. When our legendary golf coach made us stand up and introduce ourselves to the fellow freshmen, he said, just stand up, tell us your name, tell us what you want to do with your life. And I stood first at his beckoning. And I said, I'm Jim Nantz, and I want to work for CBS one day. I want to broadcast the NFL, and I want to broadcast the Masters tournament. And I sat down. That was what I said. That's what I declared day one of college. And I can't begin to tell you how much appreciation I have in my heart that that's all come true. And I've been there a long time. I mean, whenever that last day is, hopefully many, many years down the line, it's going to be hard for me because I've been living that dream. It was a dream and it became a reality, but it's still a dream. And I'm not ready. I'm not even close to being ready to let go of that dream. It's much a part of me and as important to me as oxygen. It's just breathing life into that dream. So I've been very fortunate. I take none of it for granted. I'm grateful, grateful, grateful. Every day I give thanks for having the chance to live the dream. I really do.
Let's take it to Sunday this year,
Mm.
Rory's final day. You talk about the movie that's created by the Masters. Here you have the final pairing of Rory and Bryson. I mean, you couldn't have scripted that any better.
Not scripted any better.
And then the flow of it, I don't know if you can recognize, but from a viewer's perspective, Sunday at the Masters 2025 may have been the greatest sports television ever broadcast.
I agree with that statement right there. In terms of creating tension, suspense, drama, the ups and downs of it, the matchup that you have. Um, Look, Bryson's enormously popular. He's the
He's resurrected.
he has. I mean, through his YouTube videos and all
Yep.
that. My son loves watching Bryson and all these videos trying to break 50. He's
I
into
love
it.
it.
He loves it. And I've known Bryson well since he was a college student and came to my home at Pebble Beach to pick my brain as an amateur playing in the first Masters. He 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 wrote and asked if he could have an audience and whatever. Said absolutely. Let's meet in my house on January the 16th. And he showed up and stayed for a long time. He walked away and said, I'm just trying to find a shot here and there. And he said, I really think that there's a chance that by asking you these questions about Saracen and Snead and all these people you've met along the way, that maybe it's worth a shot. And I've wanted to get to know you. I mean, I couldn't help but love the kid right away.
Sure.
And then Rory, the way he has stood up for the game. Yeah, you had that kind of interesting little subplot. You had Rory who's had to be kind of the uh, spokesman for the PGA Tour, and Bryson, who's probably the most popular live player. You had that little subplot in there too. You got two guys who are bashers who can absolutely obliterate a golf ball.
It was Batman and the Joker.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then you have the carryover from Pinehurst
Right. The
when they,
previous major.
I mean, and then you've got Rory going for this epic career achievement that it felt like there was going to be a Greek tragedy here in the end. There was going to be some way that he was going to be denied it, and all of this coming together. Then you start out the day with Bryson grabbing the lead after two holes and Rory stumbling. I mean, by a yard on each of his first two tee shots, failing to clear a bunker. It was that close. It was like that close. And had he, I don't know, he says it really helped him calm down, but to go double bogey par on those first two holes, he's three shots behind where he should be. Um, yeah. And then the ride that Rory took us on, the ups and downs, uh, he's got it. He can't lose it now. And then he hits the third shot, the pitch into the 13th green. I mean, who's ever seen in a moment like that? Forget missed short putts. Talking about shots into a green. It's one of the biggest misses of all time in the history of the game. I mean, it just can't happen. It just blew your mind. Just like missing the green at the 72nd with a wedge in hand. Anywhere on the green, two putts,
Done.
it's done. It's over. I've never been on such a wild ride. I was exhausted. I mean, I had other people tell me this. They're flat out exhausted. And I'm not sure that here we are talking today, 9 days later. I'm not sure. And I've been to Hilton Head for another riveting tournament, by the way, that had its own long journey back to a super ending with JT. But I'm not sure I'm over the Masters yet. I'm really not sure I am. It was that big. It was so powerful.
It was the emotion that he shared, the vulnerability that he shared. I have not spoken to a person yet that didn't react the same way, that they started crying too.
I tried to, well, we had a long stretch where, no one needs to tell us otherwise. Your instincts take over. There's nothing you can say after he's holed out other than for a brief moment to recognize what a gentleman Justin Rose is, and give him his due, but then lay out until it feels like it's an appropriate time to reinsert yourself. It's died down enough. And it was, I think, 7 minutes of just amazing up close with Rory and beautifully framed by our production team. But one of the first things I said was what you just witnessed on that 18th green was as real and authentic a reaction as anything you'll ever see. There was no punching in the air as if I'm not saying other people have, but there was no pre-planned reaction shot. I'm not, again, accusing anybody who ever done that. He just collapsed.
Right.
The weight had just been so immense for so long. And he let us in of how much, not only did it mean to him, but what a burden he had been carrying all this time. It was just as real as anything you'll ever see. And I tried to identify that right on the spot.
There have already been articles. It's like, Nantz didn't say anything for 4 minutes. It's like, he probably is caught up in the moment, right?
If I tried to say something over that, Fred,
No.
you can only sully one of the great scenes that sport would ever deliver, any sport. Like trying to talk over the crowd chanting his name and hearing the reaction when he's hugging Shane Lowry or any number of people that were in that human tunnel on the way from the green to scoring. Again, it's the right play. There is no other play there. I wouldn't even think about trying to jump in the middle of that.
Yeah, good for you. That's skills. And I can't imagine what the production team was going through in that last hour. The energy, the buzz, the excitement. Everyone's probably slapping high fives, looking at each other with their eyes bugging out of their head.
Well, when Rory missed the putt on the 72nd hole, and tapped it in for a bogey, and now we're heading to a playoff. All you can do is wonder. You've just seen a pretty big meltdown at 13 and 18. By the way, in the middle of that, it was one of the greatest shots, if not the greatest shot of his life, into 15. That swooping 7-iron that barely cleared and hopped up there to within about 5 feet of the hole, only then to have him miss it. Had he made that putt, the tournament's probably
Game
over.
over. Yeah.
Yeah, game over. He's got a 2-shot lead with 3 to play. But it was, it was just trying to wrap your mind around the fact that Rosie has just beat him by 7 shots in regulation. He's on a roll. Rory could have been almost inconsolable at that point, but he's got to reinvent himself, reboot, and go back out and play for the green jacket. And thankfully, Harry Diamond said to him, "Hey, on Monday, if someone would have told you you get to go play one hole in a playoff for the green jacket, you would have taken it." And even Rory said that clicked in and got him in a better frame of mind. What did he do? Striped the tee shot. Rosie went first, had a remarkable second shot in there. And then Rory, wasn't going to hit it right this time into that bunker. And here it comes off the slope. It was, like you said it. What's better? I've seen 40 Masters. I walked into my very first year, Jack Nicklaus's historic 6th green jacket. Can't be better than that, can it? I know there's recency bias, so that's pretty special. Then you had the Tiger 2 most high profile of his 5 wins, 97 and 2019. A win for the ages, the return to glory, whatever. Those were particularly the last one, unexpected. And that was competitively tight and kind of got settled down at the 12th hole down at Amen Corner. But there's so many twists and turns to this one. Is there anything ever better than this? Or is this just recency bias?
I don't know. I think it's way up there.
Yeah, it's definitely way up there. It might be. It's top 4 for me in my 40 years. If I had done 75, which was another Nicklaus win and Jack's 5th, as he battled to the wire with Weiskopf and Miller, that would have been up there too. But I'm just saying, in my 40-year window from 86 on, it's top 4 most compelling, exciting. It probably is the most compelling.
Right. For golfers and non-golfers.
Yes. It's just.
It was great television.
The 97 win was so historical. There was not a competitiveness to it. He won by 12 shots. So it was classical storytelling and a massively important event that transcended the sport, really. But it was such a thrill to be there. It's funny. April 13th, if you're a numerologist, that was the Sunday this year. April the 13th has produced the best Masters. It really has. Jack in 75, Jack in 86, Tiger in 97, I believe Tiger in 2019, and Rory in 2025. April the 13th is the Sunday of all Sunday dates. As you know, the Masters ends, barring weather, on the 2nd Sunday in April. So it's going to be either an April 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, or 14th. But April the 13th is the trigger date of the greatest Masters ever played.
But we don't want to look at the calendar for the future, April 13th, and circle it going, oh, this is going to be fun.
Yeah, next time I'll be ready for it. I should have said it on the air. I always know kind of back of my mind. My boy Freddie Couples won on an April the 12th, which was very special in 1992. Seve had an April 13th win. These are the kinds of things that are circling in my head, Fred, that I can never let go. For whatever reason, all things Masters, I have devoured the history books, the record books. I just love it, man. It is.
Dude, you're part of them.
It's just the greatest event.
And has there been a sporting event that you called that you got emotional about that you felt like, I'm just not going to talk because I can't right now?
Yeah. This very event that we just watched.
Really?
Oh, during that walk,
Yeah.
I mean, I was definitely choked up. And I even had a hint of it in Butler Cabin when I asked him about his parents. I wasn't trying to make him cry, but just coming from someone that will forever cherish the fact that I had two loving parents who nurtured and my dream, believed in me. I'm always a sucker for the family story. It's just the way I'm wired. I will tell you, I battled the allergies that week at Augusta, and a lot of people did, but it was really heavily in my voice. And we have 99% of what you're doing is not on camera. So you have an ability to cut your mic and cough. It's called a
You
cough
cough.
switch.
Right.
But I could barely get two sentences together without having to hit the cough switch.
Oh, wow.
And then sometimes it could be a coughing fit that could go on for 30 seconds before I could have my voice back to be able to pick up the moment. And I went into Sunday with that epic matchup between Rory and Bryson. Is this the day? All of that. Really fretting over whether or not I could do Butler Cabin's green jacket ceremony. Because if I had one of those coughing attacks, you can't stop it.
No cough switch there.
There's no cough switch and there's nowhere to hide. You're on camera. So we had a backup plan. I'm actually giving you a little bit of news here. Not that it's earth shattering, but we had a backup plan and Trevor was just off camera, ready to jump in there in jacket and tie if I had to get up and walk out of it. So for whatever reason, I felt strong that day with my voice. Saturday was a disaster in terms of trying to deliver clean lines without hitting the cough switch. And overnight Saturday was tough. I couldn't sleep. The tickle on my voice from the pollen was just overtaking me. So I said, we've got to have a plan here. We can't ask anybody else to take us off the air. The champion can't say, that's a good night from Augusta, Georgia. It needs to be somebody from CBS. So with about 30 minutes to go, Seller said, do you think you can do this? And I said, I actually think I can. I'm going to talk a little slower than I normally do and just basically deliver a line, kind of clear my voice a little bit and resume. And I got through it. And a lot of people thought they heard a ton of emotion in my voice. A lot of that was just trying to fight back the allergies. We're here in Butler Cabin, kind of swallow and clear your throat. Chairman Ridley, what a tournament it was. And I got through that without an issue. Thank goodness. Thank the Lord. The second I signed off, I went into a coughing fit that lasted about a minute. But can't time these things.
We just kind of talked about your top 4 masters. When I ask you for the top 4 events, sports events that you've called, is it just the Masters or do you have some other moments that hit that top 4?
Most meaningful moment of my career was when Fred Couples won the Masters in 1992. We were, as you know, we went to Houston together. We shared a 4-person suite for 2 of those years. Fred left after our junior year. We roomed with Blaine McAllister, a 5-time tour winner, John Horn, who was a 2-year player on the tour back in the late 80s. And we all were very close, and we still are, all of us. And to see someone realize their dream and openly talk about during her college years how he wants to win the Masters, how I want to be there to broadcast the Masters, and then for it to actually play out. And you're now interviewing him in Butler Cabin. Very deeply personal. That's my favorite sporting event of all time for me. But on my short list, I would have to put I'd have to put at least one Super Bowl in there. I've called 7 of them. and at least one national championship game in college basketball, because all of these three properties have been a big part of my life. Probably the Super Bowl. There we go.
There you go. The
Thankfully,
call,
it's almost left the building.
the pollen has arrived.
2 weeks. But the 49ers, Kansas City Super Bowl just a year and a half ago that went to overtime was an amazing game to call. Really proud of that show with Tony Romo. That would have to be right up there.
I was watching that game from a cattle auction house in Costa Rica.
Come on.
It's true. We had put together a group for my wife's her 70th birthday, and we went with 12 friends for a 2-week trip to Costa Rica. And it's like, but wait a minute, the Niners are in the Super Bowl and we're from San Francisco. It's like our team's in the Super Bowl. So we went to this bar that was a cattle auction house. So yeah,
It was
painful for us.
game. I'm glad you saw it. It was the
Oh
most
yeah.
fun show in the history of television, and such an honor to call it. San Francisco went down in overtime, kicked a field goal, and then the Chiefs marched down, had a chance, of course, to have their own possession, and they won it with a touchdown pass from Mahomes to McCole Hardman.
Yeah, I know.
I'd have to put that up there. Sorry if I'm trying to wear.
And please don't bring up Kirk Gibson's home run either. All right? I mean, come on. You're gonna beat me up here.
I'm sorry. You are the Giant fan. You can't.
A's fan. I was an A's fan at the time.
Yeah, it was only 1988.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah.
Oh, God.
Sorry.
See, you talked about the pacing, and the pacing you were having during an allergy attack is one thing, but your pacing for golf is obviously going to be very different than the national championship in basketball. Yeah. Do you prefer one over the other as far as your pace?
I just think that the golf is at more of a conversational pace, kind of how we're talking right now. So that's more like just being normal than the excitability that comes. It's not, I mean, I love the energy that's in a football call or a basketball call, but it's up and down, and you're talking at a pace that the game is delivering. It's quick.
Very different.
And I like that. But I do think that there's a bigger challenge in trying to make the most out of a small window in golf until you get to the end where everything's on the 18th hole where you're residing. There's a lot of ping-ponging and back and forth. Here's Scheffler for birdie at 12. He's 6 under for the day, moves within 2, over to 14. That's just pure calling. That is not the art of storytelling where you can insert a story about the people, the subjects that you're covering. But I do enjoy the challenge of trying to keep it fresh in golf. Tiger was a problem. And I say that because he won so often. He won 57 of his 82 wins on CBS, 57 of 82. 9 of his 15 majors were on our air. That's 57 times I walked him up 18. A great many of them he was winning in runaway victories. How do you keep it fresh? How do you say something you didn't say 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago or for the last 5 weeks or whatever? That's a new, fresh twist on Tiger and his greatness. So it was challenging. It wasn't easy. If you really want to be good and keep your audience informed and tell them new things, have a new way of spinning it, he created a great challenge because of just his dominance.
Right. I mean, there was no competitive storyline, like we had with Rory and Bryson. When he's running away with it, where do you go? I mean, like when you watch an NBA game and it's a blowout, or even a baseball game and it's a blowout, you can tell when the announcers are like freaking out because they got to come up with random stories.
It is harder to do.
It makes it so much harder.
Blowouts are hard to do. Football games that are blowouts,
Really hard to do. Not easy to do. But the pacing of golf,
I like it.
like the pacing of baseball, although baseball pacing changed with the shot, the pitch clock, I would think that Vin Scully would have been really had a difficult time with the pitch clock because of his pacing and his storytelling. And baseball and golf probably lead to storytelling better than any other
I
sport.
agree 100%. I think they're very similar in that what they give you, the forum they give you to show off your skill set. I agree.
Yeah, yeah, hard thing to do.
By the way,
Uh,
we had at Hilton Head on Sunday, our opening tease was narrated by Vin Scully. And
oh,
what was so clever, our young production team that put it together, they lifted Vin's tease copy and voice. Wasn't AI, but it was from a tease from 40 years ago. Vin was the CBS golf anchor, I want to say, until 19, maybe 83, somewhere around there. So at least 40 years ago. And they took his copy in his voice and they used it over our opening to the Sunday at the RBC Heritage. Very cool.
very cool.
I played golf with Vince Scully a few times, Bel Air Country Club. He was a lefty. And
Really?
yeah, I had great regard for Vin. In fact, when
Yeah.
you walk into the clubhouse now at Bel Air, it's one of the first pictures on the wall there as the two of us walking off and caps in the air and looking up at somebody who took the picture from the swinging bridge, looking down. So I'm extremely honored to be in that photo with Mr. Scully.
Yep, Mr. Scully. I had a
Yeah.
chance to meet him as well. Crazily at my brother's bachelor party. He was there because Rick Monday was friend of my brother and his
Oh, wow.
best friend. And Rick said, Vinny, I'm going to a bachelor party. You want to come? Yeah, sure. So there I am sitting across the table from Vin Scully, like,
Unbelievable.
okay, fine. What did you say to Fred Couples this past week at the Masters after he made that hole on he holed out from 16 with a hybrid
Yeah, 14. Yeah,
14
14.
with
No,
a six hybrid, right?
didn't get to talk to him after
Oh,
the eighth round. He also holed a putt from off the green at 1 that day, then hold the second shot at 14. But I do know that he was extremely disappointed that he didn't make the cut. He was
yeah,
about to advance his own record of the oldest to ever make the cut. He made it 2 years ago at 63. He was ready to take it to 65 and a half. And it just got away from him the last 6 holes. I think it was 3 over. And I know he was just extremely upset about that. But he'll be back. And don't put it past him to make the cut a few more times before it's all said and done. He lives for that tournament. I know exactly since the first day I met him how much it means and what he's feeling. I think we're wired the same in many ways. And one thing that I know we are wired in identical fashion is that our year is measured on a master's calendar, not the normal Jan 1 through December 31 calendar. Day 1 of my year is the Monday after the Masters. So we're talking right now basically on day 9 because 365 is the Sunday of the Masters. All roads lead up to that weekend and that event. In my mind, that's how I look
that's
at the year.
that's the end of your year.
That's the end of my year. I'm
Yeah.
building up to that all year long.
Wow.
So I'm
Wow.
9
And
days closer to the Masters Sunday now.
and for everybody else, that's the beginning of the year. It's like,
It's
okay, now we can all go play golf.
right. It's amazing how it's become so much a symbol of the passage of the season and the oncoming of spring. It used to be the baseball season starting
Right?
and all of that. I really do think the Masters has become that symbol of spring is in the air for everybody, even non-golfers. I got to tell you one story that I got to mention it a few times on the air. I'm going to cue something up here for you. But
Okay.
after the 24 Masters, I made a vow to myself. I'm going to find Dave Loggins, the writer, creator of the Augusta Melody, wherever he is. I'm going to find him and thank him for that cut of music because it really, I feel kind of my voice conforms with that music and that melody. If someone had to write a piece of music that would kind of fit with my voice, I feel like that no one could come up with anything better than the Augusta melody.
I couldn't agree with you more. And may I press this button right here?
Is that real, or is that just playing in my head like it always does?
No, I'm playing that for you, my friend.
All the time. Isn't that something?
We both have it queued up, ready to go.
I hear it all the time. So I'm a guy that has a to-do list, and I'm a doer. People say that know me that I'm a buzzsaw. I balance a lot of different things. I have businesses. I have, of course, I have being a dad, the greatest gift of all. But I have an Alzheimer's center in Houston that's named after my father that we created and founded. I think it might be the greatest, top 5 anyway, research institute in the world for Alzheimer's. I've got a wine business. I've got a lot of things going. I got my own job going.
And thank you for the center.
Thank you. It's such a positive, glorious thing in my life where good things are happening, and
Awesome.
we're finally getting progress on what has been a pretty difficult world to crack the code, so to speak. So anyway, I had Dave Loggins on my checklist to call and thank him. Just make an introduction. I happened to be at the Scottish Open in July last summer when I get word that Dave Loggins had passed away. And I was so saddened to hear the news and so down on myself for not ever closing the loop. Then I read all the tributes and obits, and come to find out he lived right down the road from me in Nashville. It was right here.
Oh my God.
Could have easily met him for lunch. It would have meant the world to me.
Yeah.
So before the Masters, I got a phone number for one of his sons. He has 3 boys. And Kyle, I called Kyle and made an introduction and just told him how much I think about his dad, and that I was going to have his dad front of mind this year at the Masters tournament. I wanted him to know that. I asked him to tell me a little bit about his dad. He was a prolific writer and, songwriter and performer. He never could have imagined that song would be something that would outlive him. It's going to outlive him forever. I mean, I think until the end of time, that song will always be a part of the Masters tournament.
It better be.
It better be, right? And anyway, he told me a sweet story that on Masters Sunday, he watched every minute of it with his 3 sons. That was a family tradition. And he gets such a thrill every time it came on. And occasionally I would make allusions to Dave Loggins. And the lyrics to this start out with the springtime in the valley on Magnolia Lane. It's the Augusta National and the Masters of the game. And there's a portion of the lyrics there that plays over and over again. Augusta, your dogwoods and pines, they play on my mind like a song. So I said something on Saturday's opening, and then I mentioned him on Sunday. And, I could have done 10 minutes on it, but there's a live golf tournament to cover.
Oh, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, by the way. I thought of Dave Loggins so much this year. Every time that melody played, I tried to somehow bring him in. And people are really curious about that song when they hear it now. It's become the longest running sports theme in television history.
Sure.
There's other major.
Even Monday Night Football's theme changes seems to change.
Well,
right?
Yeah. I mean, there were some years where it's continuous. Now they still do that. Now it's back now. Yeah. There was some years where they didn't have that recognizable. And that started in 71. This started in 81, but it's been continuous. And it was just a great part of it all. Means a ton to me.
And an event like any other, unlike any other,
Unlike any other.
unlike any other. That just roll off your tongue, or was that a team decision? Where did that come from?
Yeah, it was a collaboration. It came out in '86. I was shooting some promos with a great guy named Doug Toohey, who's passed on. He was our creative producer. I give Doug credit for that one. I really do.
Mm.
He was an amazing man. And I was just a young pup. Frank Trukinian had brought me down to shoot some promos in advance of my first Masters tournament. And that's the first place that I ever uttered a tradition unlike any other, the Masters on CBS, on those promos. I know I've been given the chance to popularize it, or people have heard it leave my lips so many times. Really honored by that line. I think that's another one that will live forever. I think it's part of the whatever the majesty of the Masters tournament. But I give Doug Toohey credit for that, and his amazing vision of things that he did. He's the same guy that came up with the song that closes out every national championship game, "One Shining Moment," and the college football theme on CBS. And there are things that are still around that Doug came up with. He was a wonderful man, a brilliant guy.
Part of the cinematic majesty
It is,
that
isn't it?
is. Yeah, yeah. So when you were in college with Fred Couples, your roommates, and
Mhm.
he's like, "I'm going to win the Masters," and you're like, "I'm going to be on CBS," and your friends are going, "Here, drink this and shut up."
Uh,
Right? I mean,
you
can
know
you take yourself back there and go, "Oh my God, you guys, we did it."
A lot of times I take myself back there, but I'm thankful for the fact that we never really got belittled for it.
Really?
We were a band of believers. The world is a lot snarkier, I guess you could say now.
Oh yeah.
Where it's not just doubt, or second guessing. It's just ridiculed. And it's part of a sense of humor. It's like it's just the way that the world has evolved. There was a lot less of that cynicism when I showed up at school in the late '70s. And if you said that you really wanted one day you hoped to work for CBS, they didn't laugh you under the table. They didn't make fun of you. Or if Fred said he's going to win the Masters, yeah, and I'm going to the moon. It wasn't like that. It was total support. I do believe we were able to siphon off of each other a lot of extremely high level positive energy.
Mm.
I think that we I think that we I think we really both benefited from having such big dreams, and the fact that everybody made you feel like that was going to happen. And I think that holds true for Blaine. I mentioned Blaine. I love Blaine McAllister. He's a special, special friend, always will be. And one of my amigos, as close as I can be to any friends. Those roommates of mine, or they still all these years later, we're brothers. And John Horn. But I do think that it helped me get to where I wanted. I know I can speak, for what the impact was in my case. My guys really believed I was going to work for CBS one day. And it was not a sense of entitlement. It was not, hey, get out of the way. This is going to happen. There's no sense of entitlement whatsoever. But when you are emboldened by people that look at you and believe in you, I got that feedback from my parents since I was a little boy. You go to college and you get that same kind of positive feedback, and they're getting it in return. You're going to be broadcasting the Masters one day, and you're going to win it. Guess what? Good things happen. We lifted each other on our shoulders, and we graduated from college. Fred left a year early, but you felt like you're ready to go out there and take on the world and go figure out a way to get what it is that you want. And I was obsessive about the idea of working for CBS. I know that's not a good word. Strong. And being obsessive is has a lot of negativity sound to it. But
Not in this context.
not in this context. I was all in on it. I took every opportunity that came my way to try to get experience and strengthen my career and get better at my craft, because all of it was about one day hopefully being discovered by CBS. I'm just out here. They don't know it yet, but I'm going to work for them one day. I'm going to work so hard that I'm going to figure it out. We were goal-minded individuals is the point of it all. And this doesn't sound like a whole lot of fun, but we really went for our dreams. We were not partiers. I'm going to tell you that, you know, we went to one party that I can remember our entire college careers. We lived together, the golf team in the dorms. We went to a fraternity party. We were invited one night. It was a night of a Muhammad Ali Leon Spinks fight. And we got there and people were drinking beer and they had invited a sorority over. We're just a bunch of golf geeks. And we all were anxious to make sure we got back to watch the fight. It was not on closed circuit. In fact, it was on CBS. The fight was. And we went in. We weren't drinkers. We never drank through college. Obviously, we didn't smoke. We were out to be what we got to school. We got, the odds of getting to the Houston golf program are pretty long. Houston won 16 out of 30 national championships. We were serious about our pursuit of goals. And I can remember we went to this party. We were there about 30, 40 minutes. Didn't seem like a whole lot of fun. We all said, let's get out of here. Let's go back to the room and watch the fight. And that marked the end of our social life in college. That was it.
While you were telling that story, a news blurb just popped up on my Kindle, my tablet here, and it said that the USGA and the RNA have just named you the commissioner. So, Mr. Commissioner, what's the first thing you're going to do when you start? What rules are you going to change? What are you going to do? Who are you going to talk to?
Fred, you absolutely had me on a hook. I was.
You were looking at me like, what are you talking about?
There's going to be some sad news there of some sort.
No, I'm just messing with you.
Yeah. There's the speed of play is a big deal with me.
Yep.
And I think as the world gets faster and, people consume things in abbreviated, abridged form, golf runs counter to the way the world is moving. The world is getting faster and golf is stuck there on a long afternoon of, waiting, playing 4 or 5 hours. So it feels like it's an all-day affair for people to get into the game. I think the welfare of the game, and I don't know how much you can accelerate it. I don't know that you can shave an hour off of a round of golf, but every little bit would help to move it up faster. I would try to figure out ways of trimming the amount of time that it takes to play a round of golf. One time, Jack Nicklaus told me, and I love Jack. One time, Jack said that he could see down the road the game being switched to 12 holes, where the golf courses are built as 12-hole golf courses. Now, I don't know if he still feels that way, but that creates a problem with what's grandfathered in. The old courses of the world, how would you reroute them? Would you reroute them into 3 sets of 6? So you have.
I've always wondered about that.
Why you have a way to get back to the clubhouse on some of these courses at 12 holes.
A lot of people always complain about the fact that golf just takes too much time. So instead of 9 and 9, going 6, 12, 18, you want to go out for an hour and a half, go out and, play 6 type of thing. It's like, why
and if you play 12, you could do it, you could do it maybe under 3 hours. Now
Exactly. Well, that's what makes golf on television so great, because the pacing of it is perfect and you can cut to player to player to player. I mean, I came home from the Masters. I came because I wanted to watch it on TV on Sunday.
Yeah.
Because I struggle with things happening elsewhere all the time. And when you're on a golf course at a professional tournament, nothing's happening in front of you. It's all happening somewhere else.
You might not be at the right place when the shot of the tournament is
Chances
stopped.
are, right. Chances are you're going to hear a loud scream across the golf course.
Of course, the roars at Augusta on Sunday are unique and standalone. But I would love to see the game move faster. Listen, I've already had my name right in the middle of all this argument about aim point.
Yes, you
And
have.
I haven't said that much about it, but it got picked up that I said something that was critical of it. And now I see articles are written saying I'm a critic of it. I will say this. We were at Hilton Head this last weekend with all the kids, and we have a tradition there of playing the annual family putt-putt match. This is big at Pirates Island in Hilton Head. Done it for years. Okay. Well, I had our match this year on Saturday, and it's on air day. So I thought I had left plenty of time, but it was a beautiful spring day. The course was crowded. There's 36 holes there, and you can't play through. And you got people that don't know they're supposed to let you play through because they're not golfers. They don't understand they're holding you up. But the real holdup was two groups in front of me. There was somebody up there that was aim pointing on the golf course. And I thought, now I've seen it all. You know, people watch, they imitate, they see the pros play, and they go out and try to do the same thing. And that pretty much tested my tolerance for slow play. And
Aim point on a putt-putt.
saw it at a miniature golf course. And it added an extra 30 minutes to the experience.
Oh, please tell me that at the beginning of that family event that you looked at everyone and said, this is a family tradition unlike any other.
It is. They all know that. They know all the lines. Trust me, they know. We had an incredible battle, and yes, our patience was tested. We came down to the last hole. My oldest daughter, poor Caroline, she held the lead most of the day. I doubled the first hole, which I thought I tried to find some solace in that Rory had done the same thing at Augusta. So I made the declaration, well, this is how Rory started. So we're coming back. And I was fighting all the way through. We got to the last hole, and my sweet Caroline had a putt from 1.5 feet to win by 1, and it lipped out. But we declared it co-champions. We did not have a playoff. I had to go back to work. She knocked it in, and I said, the long journey is over. Caroline has her masterpiece.
As you talk about the pace of play and people are, they don't have an entire weekend to watch golf, do you think TGL addressed any of it? And was it a success doing that?
I do think they did. I think that the chance to see golf played with a shot clock put some ideas in people's heads. I do. I think that's actually one of them. And I think there were a number of good things that came out of it. I think that one right there is right at the top of the list.
Do you think it has some legs to sustain? TGL?
I do. I really do. I can't say that I watched every single match, but I know they were happy with the audience they reached, the size that they reached. And I thought the graphics, the holes that they created were fascinating to look at. And look, all of these things are really good for exposing the game, introducing the game to people that don't get it. It's forward thinking. So I salute the people that put TGL together. I think they've found something it's definitely gonna be around next year, and I think well beyond. I think it's a good thing. All of these initiatives are good. First tee, it's been around now since the late 90s.
I'm coaching on first tee now.
Are you?
Yeah, 6 to 9 year olds. Yeah.
I've been all over the country speaking on first tee's behalf. It's important to me, and I hope to take on a larger role in some capacity sometime soon, because I believe in what the game espouses and the people can reach and the message it delivers. And, Yeah, I think all of these things are good as the world does change. And again, it gets faster and things happen. You have to learn how to figure out new ways to be innovative and move with it. And the shot clock on TGL, it didn't hurt. It helped.
How do you feel about bifurcation?
I don't see a problem with that, really, with there being a different golf ball for the pros.
Different ball, different rules
Yeah,
than for the rest of us.
yeah. I don't see a problem with that.
Uh,
But there are things, as you know, that are in place that are going to be kicking in here a couple years down the road.
yeah, yeah. Well, listen, I was told to keep you to 25 minutes. I'm sorry. We're almost at an hour and 25.
25 minutes. I'm sorry.
But it has been just so great to talk to you. I feel like, hey, you're a broadcaster. I came from broadcasting, so we're just disc jockeys, right? I'm like just another guy who's been in the business, and I couldn't wait to share
Long
stories.
time.
Yeah.
Listen, this was a historic podcast right here for you.
Yes, it is.
Number 1,000.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Oh, I do a lot.
That's a lot.
Why am I still doing this? I mean, when I started doing it, there were a couple of golf podcasts. It was a year and a half before the iPhone came out that I started doing this. Huh?
It's amazing what you've accomplished.
It just was, I don't know, persistence. No, I've
You're ahead of
just
your
become
time.
I've become as passionate about this as that I did about my golf game. So I've had a couple of lucky shots where I was ahead of my time. And if you ever read that book about Madden, Stan talks about how I created something with Madden. Madden used to do outgoing phone messages for me. He loved to do this.
Wow.
Right. And then when famous people would come into the radio station, I was at KSFO at the time. They would have to come into my studio and say, "Hi, this is the Fifth Dimension." And, they did an interview with the disc jockey to promote their upcoming concert. But it was like, "You're listening to Oakland A's baseball on 560 KSFO." And I would record them doing that. So I'd say, "Hey, I don't collect autographs, but I do collect outgoing phone messages. Can you do this?" Not all these famous people doing it. And Madden was like, "You got to start a business. That's a great business. You got to do this." And I'm like, "Yeah, coach, I don't know how that scales," right? This was way before the internet, let alone CD players. And he just loved that idea. And 40 years later, this thing Cameo comes out, and Stan Bunger writes in his books like, "Fred could have created." It's like, oh my God, I should have.
Well, I've enjoyed the visit.
I truly appreciate it.
I be on earlier. We'll talk about that another time. But thanks for saving me for the 1,000th.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you right now. I'll leave you with this. I'm in on the 2,000th. Okay.
Wow, that's one of us.